Find your feet and bring yourself into the position of Tadasana, mountain posture, whereby you rise up and increase your height, your stature. You create space within the whole of the body. You align your skeletal frame, having the head and shoulders centered directly over the hips. Relaxing the shoulders away from the ears, surrendering through the arms and allowing them to hang loosely by your side. Take the time to make a great foundation, to bring yourself to a composed state, one of calm, tranquility, whilst also having an injection of dynamic energy so that you can proceed forward with some enlightened activity. Today we're going to practice some postures which will stretch the legs and be twisting within the trunk of the body. A couple of days ago we practiced the same or similar positions, only based on the mat. So if you didn't watch the video a couple of days ago, you might like to go back, watch that, and then you'll be able to apply all that you learned there to the here and now. So let's get started, and we are going to commence with warming up through the trunk of our body and our spine. So let's take the feet about hip width apart and have a bend in the knees. Relax in the neck and throat, unclench your teeth. Loosen the arms by the sides of your body and then simply begin to sway, circulate side to side. Keep the weight evenly and equally distributed into your 2 feet. Avoid gripping the toes into the mat too much. The toes should be nice and relaxed. You're just gently loosening up and having these semi-rotations through the spine, and you can begin to make the shape bigger and really allow those arms to release out in a circular movement. And take your head and neck in line with your spine, a natural extension as it twists and turns. And keep the breath flowing rhythmically to your own natural rhythm. And then gently softening, releasing, and drawing back to your foundation pose of Tadasana. So you might like to have a belt or strap handy because it's a great working tool. You could also make use of a wall so that you can put your hand on the wall to help support you in your early days of finding your balance. Or you could have a chair. So think about these working tools and bring them in closer to you now. So let's start by making a connection with our feet and get into grips with stretching through the legs whilst balancing, standing. So it's all about gaining a great deal of coordination as well. Let's take the weight onto the left foot. Peel the right heel away from the mat and think about, as the foot leaves the mat, drawing the thigh and the knee up towards you. So rather than you bending forward to collect the foot, which could make you off balance. You're keeping your central column nice and straight and drawing the thigh and shin in towards you. So if you need to, you could use a strap now to bring the belt around the shin to draw it close in. Or if you're able to connect with the shin, then do so. You've got a nice strong standing leg, the knee lifting, the thigh engaged and active. You've got a straight torso with the head and shoulders centered over the hips. You might like to give a little bit of movement to that right foot, turning the ankle, flexing and pointing, whilst you adapt and adjust in your upper body, making yourself as tall as you can be, loosening that right hip, really draw that knee up towards the chest, and then release. And then we'll go on the other side. Remember, keep the belt or strap close to you if it's something that you need as a working tool. Let's take the weight onto the right foot. Breathe in and peel the heel of the left foot away from the mat, and then think about bringing the thigh and the knee up towards your chest rather than you leaning forward. The head is the heaviest part of the body. So wherever the head goes, the torso tends to follow. So if you can keep your head and shoulders nice and aligned over the torso, over the hips, then you'll find you'll be able to engage with balance and coordination with greater ease. Rise up, make yourself tall in a standing position. Think of creating space internally. Lift pubis to navel, navel to breastbone, breastbone to brow, and brow to crown of head. Rising up. And then gently release. Now let's take the weight onto the left leg. Breathe in, bend the right knee up towards us, and then just link the fingers underneath that right hamstring. Again, the torso is like a column, nice and upright. You have a little tilt in the pelvis so that that is aligned, and when you tilt the pelvis, your tummy pulls in, back and down to support the spine. So now let's take a breath in, and as we exhale, can we see if we can straighten that right leg? Don't judge yourself if it doesn't happen, and don't have judgment if your leg is down here and you can't get it up too high. Again, remember, work in those increments, those stepping stones, being kind to yourself, keeping the ego out of the equation, because the ego's always going to want to push you to do more than you're able. And remember, you could have a chair next to you and have one hand on the chair whilst holding your leg. If you feel that you can release and then lower, do so. And then take the weight onto both feet, and again become aware of that transference of your total body mass. It's now onto 2 feet, and then it will transfer onto 1 foot again. So we're going on to the other side, the right foot this time, as the left heel peels away, and we draw that thigh and knee up towards us, and we hold underneath the left hamstring. Remember to keep point of focus as well. It may be a small spot directly in front of you. Hold your focus, that always helps with the balance. A nice deep breath in, and as you exhale, begin to straighten the left leg. See if you can release the hands and slowly lower the left leg to once again bringing the weight equally into both feet. So let's take the weight now, transfer it into the left leg. Have a strong standing leg. You've got that elevation rising up through the shin and the calf muscle. The knee is lifted, actively engaged, as is the left thigh muscle. It's all rising up, firm, solid, strong. Let's peel the right heel away from the mat, breathe in and draw that right thigh towards us, holding underneath the hamstring. Take a nice deep inhalation, and as you exhale, release the left arm forward. Begin to straighten the right leg so that you could make a connection, either with hand on foot or use the belt. Placing the belt around the ball of the foot, holding on to it. Now you could have a wall beside you here as well to help stabilise. If you have the connection, rise up through the trunk of your body, and then you will release the right arm behind you and gradually, slowly turn to look over your right shoulder. Unclench your teeth, breathe. And then gently bringing that hand back to hold onto the hamstring, to allow the leg to bend, to release and place it down. And then we'll go to the other side. So you'll find yourself in your foundation, Tadasana, mountain posture. You'll have an active, strong right leg. That's your standing leg as you peel the heel of the left foot away and draw the left thigh in towards you. Holding underneath that left hamstring, nice deep breath in, creating that lift and elevation, pulling up internally. And then as you exhale, releasing that right hand forward so that it can connect with the outer edge of the left foot, or of course you're using your belt or strap. Release your left hand and then 180 degrees spin behind you, and then you take the trunk of the body, the torso, and turn to look over the left shoulder and breathe. Keeping the head and shoulders centered over the hips at all times. And then you bring that left hand to connect with the left hamstring, release the left leg, place it down, and you find yourself back in the neutral position of Tadasana. So let us take the weight onto the left leg once again. Strong, firm foundation, rising up, creating that difference in stature. You feel heightened. And then we'll release the right foot and the right leg. And we're going to now draw our right hand to catch our right foot. So it's same hand, same foot. A nice deep inhalation, lift up. And as you exhale, you begin to straighten that leg. Remember, again, you can use your belt or strap. You bring the left hand forward and then swim it round 180 degrees and turn to look over your left shoulder. Unclench the teeth, breathe, and then bringing the hand back and release and return to mountain. Transfer the weight of the feet onto the other side. So this time you're on the right foot, you lift up through the right leg, make it strong. And remember, you can have a wall or a chair to assist, as well as your belt. They are all working tools, and it's about having your honest practice. The ego is out of the equation. You are not competing against anybody else, and you're certainly not competing against yourself neither. You're just discovering the potential you have for great balance, coordination, stretch, suppleness. So let's bring that left knee up towards us And bring the left hand to connect with the left foot. Rise up through your torso, and then when you exhale, begin to straighten that leg. Remembering it's always upon exhalation that the body lets go. Release your right hand and swim it round 180 degrees, and then turning to look over your right shoulder, still rising up with every breath in. Keeping strong, keeping focused. And then bring that right hand round to release the right leg and to once again return to neutral. Allow the arms to hang naturally by the sides of the body, the hands loose and the fingers just dropping down towards the floor. Have your chin parallel with the mat and close the eyes. Scan the body for any pockets of tension that you may have created or that you may be harbouring. And then with the breath exiting your body, allow the stress and the tension to exit with it. Let it go. And then we'll open the eyes and let's step the feet about 3.5, 4 feet apart. Get your hands on your hips, a nice deep breath in as you pull up internally. You lift your pubis to navel, scoop the tummy up, make space, and then hinge the hips over the 2 femur bones, your thigh bones, as you take yourself forward. Move slowly so that you can generate that experience of having alignment. So as you go forward, you become aware that you're not twisting to one side or you've got one shoulder higher than another. They're both still very even, and you can get to the point where you get your head in a nice natural extension of the spine so that you can then continue to surrender forward. And you still have this lift occurring through the legs, the skin on the outer edge from the ankles to the hips, it's all rising up, and the inner thighs, they're pulling back toward the muscle and the bone so that you are toning, bringing flesh and muscle to connect with bone as nature intended. Take yourself down to the point that's most comfortable for you. And if at any point the legs begin to shake, it's your nervous system telling you that you're overstretching. So you can always have a slight bend. You can rest your hands on your thighs or your shins. Avoid resting on the knees because that's putting pressure onto them. So keep that in mind. Just release the whole way down. Let go of the back of the neck so that the crown of the head points down towards the mat, and then bring the hands to capture their opposing elbows, and just let your head relax through. Keep the breath flowing, the teeth unclenched, and then drawing the hands back to the outer edge of the legs, tracing the fingers upwards as you restack the bones of the spine. Keep your chin near your chest until your shoulders are above your hips, and then you can bring the chin to align with the mat. Nice deep breath in, jump step or walk the feet together. Bring the hands together at the heart, namaste. Rising up, remembering that this simple position of Tadasana will change the way other people view you. It will change the way you view yourself. For you'll be more upstanding, more lifted, spacious. You'll have a greater sense of well-being because your oxygen intake now has the ability to circulate and be assimilated with greater capacity. Give thanks for your practice. Acknowledge the abundance there is in the universe and attract it to yourself. Allow it to flow. Be grateful. And stay safe in the knowledge that yoga is good for you.